Well, that same way that you do with that woman, that you can do with your child is to be able to be a active listener, because a good listener makes a great communicator. And if you don't listen well, you're going to have miscommunication, which leads to conflict. And then we all know what happens with conflict.
Yes, absolutely. And then I like that you brought that connection to about it's not that they don't have the skill, it's just so the framework they put on it. It's this belief system that they develop. Now, whether that's a moral belief system or they've brought it, they've embedded it in themselves. And so let's talk a little bit about the role. And as we talked in the intro about, developing positive belief systems and in their development. So how do you go about doing that in your program?
With the roles, there's several classes that we have, as you know. We're working on right now, it's in the editor's hand, um, a 5-book series for our curriculums. And it's called Healthy Mind, Body, and Spirit. And it really actually addresses one thing after another. So we start off talking, as I told you, the men and emotion. We talk about the communication. We talk about conflict resolution. We talk about what is conflict and healthy conflict, because a lot of times people think of conflict, they think of negative conflict. We talk about being vulnerable and having an open space that they feel like they can communicate without being
Yeah.
judged. That's the big key right
Yeah.
there. Because once they are in this place where, and this is probably one of the house rules that I first start off letting people know, that if anybody is being laughed at or judged, or anybody being judgmental in that class, is going to be removed from the class permanently, which means you can never come back to man. Because what you do is you break the safe place
Yes.
where these guys can actually really be healed. They can cry and not be judged. They can say how they feel and the mistakes that they've made. And so now what they're doing is they feel, and this is the big thing, a place where they can trust you.
Yes.
And 90% of these guys have trust issues. So we got to get past the trust issue in order for me to help. You got to let me help you, but you got to be able to feel like I'm going to help you and not hurt you.
Mm. Well, and that's a great point that you bring up there about the trust issues, right? Because in their life, they're most likely their life story has shown them that they can't trust people. And so we become guarded, right? We become guarded about how we're going to interact and what we're going to say.